If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
In the market for new or used guns, look no further than Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun. Whether you want to buy, sell, or trade, we got you covered. While you're here, check out our large selection of jewelry. We offer gold, silver, diamond, and beautiful estate jewelry. Looking for electronics? We have almost anything you can think of. We always carry new and used guns, so come here first and shop with a local business you can trust. Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun, serving you for over 25 years. 443-1668, 2552 Sunset Avenue, Rocky Mount.
Okay, and welcome back. We are with the K-Files this morning. Good morning, Lyndall.
Good morning, Sandra. How are you?
I'm good.
Fantastic.
So glad to have you this morning.
Absolutely.
What's on tap?
We're going to talk about, we're going to wrap up the Orlando Flowers case as far as we're concerned here, and then hopefully the information that we provided the last few weeks will give someone the impotence to give Hotline a call and let's get something done on this case.
Okay.
And then we're going to review everything we've done so far to catch some people up, because there's some new people starting to watch and all that, and I've had a couple people ask about that, so we're going to review all that. And then finally we're going to wrap it up. We're going to talk about what happened yesterday and let people know what's going on with that.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, let's get started with Orlando Flowers. Let's give a little background so they remember which case, because we're throwing out a lot of cases.
Absolutely. Orlando Flowers, there he is. He, like we said, when he was a youth, he got into a little bit of trouble, served a little bit of time, straightened out, was a well respected in his community, helped a lot of people. His family loved him. He was a father of, I believe, 6 children. He was salt of the earth kind of person. And then he got involved with a younger woman, and sort of in a biblical, in a story as old as the Bible. He gets involved with a woman. Her old boyfriend's not very happy about that.
Right.
So we've got a timeline that we went over extensively last week. People who missed that want to go back and watch the YouTube video.
Yes.
So just really quickly to run that down. After this love triangle started, the third party in the love triangle, which would be the suspect in Orlando's death, he took a shot at Orlando in September of 2016. He assaulted him at a nightclub in November of 2016. He hit his car with his vehicle in December of 2016. In January, the woman involved in this love triangle finds out that she's pregnant. And in February 2nd of 2017, she sends a text message to her old boyfriend that says, "I don't want you anymore, I want Orlando." And then a couple of days later, on February 5th, Orlando's watching the Super Bowl at his friend's house, comes out the door, and someone puts about 5 shots into him.
Right.
And then we've got an autopsy photo that we talked about a couple of weeks ago that shows that he was sitting in his vehicle. He gets shot in the left side of the chest. The bullet plowed through his heart and lungs area, comes out the other side of his chest, and then as he slumped over, he was shot several times in the lower back area. So that's where we're at, right?
Yes.
To get us up to today. So the only other thing that I wanted people to know, that I wanted to put out to people, is that the suspect in this case had a friend, a close friend, and they lived together. They were roommates, right? And they were arrested together for the same crime in 2009. That was a while back, right? So we're talking, I mean, they've been running together for a long time.
So they're kind of partners in crime, you might say.
There you go, absolutely. And the suspect in this case is a gang affiliate, right? But his buddy, his roommate, his partner in crime, is a member of the 8 Trade Crips, right?
All right.
An official member, a documented member of this gang, right? So gang violence, but not exactly a gang reason. You know, so I've always wondered what the 8 Trays think about one of their members.
Yeah.
You know, getting them involved in a homicide because his buddy was jealous of his girlfriend, his old girlfriend. So I mean, I just wanted to throw that out there. You know, I mean, I'm told oftentimes we had some folks come to City Hall meeting last year talking about how organized street crime is, and you know, and they control things, and you know, and there's that perception that things don't happen unless they say. So I mean, I just wonder, you know, did they authorize
that.
Right? Did they authorize one of their members to get involved in this whole mess? You know?
Wow.
Okay, so and also that gang member was at the nightclub the night that our suspect got into a fight with Orlando, right? So I mean, they're roped up together, definitely. So the day of the shooting, February 5th, 2017, our suspect and his gang buddy borrowed a friend's car, right?
Okay.
They both had at least 2 or 3 vehicles accessible to them. They owned vehicles. They had girlfriends who had vehicles, family members who had vehicles. But yet they borrow a friend's car, and oftentimes I've spoken to law enforcement and all that. A lot of times they want to borrow when you're going to do something bad. You want a different vehicle.
Oh yeah,
sure. So someone can't say, I saw this vehicle in the neighborhood, and the cops go over to your house and it's sitting in your driveway.
Absolutely.
Right? So they borrowed a car, just more circumstantial evidence, piled up on there. So they've got a long criminal history, especially the gang member. I mean, he's been convicted of carrying a concealed weapon, larceny from a person, drugs, resisting police, just a lot of stuff. And so what we're looking at here is just a guy that is jealous of his girlfriend. Right. His old girlfriend.
Old girlfriend, correct.
So the way he solves that problem is let's just go kill the new guy.
Wow.
So folks, I mean, that's
so
where we're at.
where is the girl?
Well,
is she with this? Did she go back to this guy by any chance?
Well, I don't know that. I knew people were going to ask that question, and I don't know the answer to that.
Because she's pregnant. This guy's dead.
Absolutely.
So what do I do? So this guy do I go back to this guy? That's interesting.
It is.
To me.
It is extremely interesting. And I don't know the answer to that. I'm gonna do an update because I'm gonna go. It's a little bit difficult to get public records right now because of the.
Oh yeah.
Because of the hoax. You know.
Right.
I'm sorry. It's a little bit difficult right now to get public records because of the COVID shutdown and all that. But what I want to do is I want to go back and I'm going to dig up that birth certificate, if there is one from that child, and see, what's up with that. Because it's a very good question. So that's where we're at. There's the hotline number. Obviously, we can tell by going over this. There's a lot of circumstantial evidence. I'm sure that the DA's office is looking for that one piece of physical evidence to put the case over the top. So, folks, if you know these people, it's pretty obvious that I know the identity of these two folks, right? I don't want to put their names out because I want the callers who call in to. I want to make sure that they know that they're not just repeating names that they heard on,
if they call in, it'll be a legitimate.
Exactly, and that's what police do that quite often. They call it a holdback. They keep back certain information
so that when the person calls, they know it's true.
Right. And I think that's to do here is there are several people that know about this. We talked about yesterday in our meeting, and the law enforcement said it before. They got a current murder up in Edgecombe County. At least 60 people saw it, but ain't nobody saw it. So
amazing.
Right. So folks, we've laid out the case. The information's there. If the cops get more information on this case, there will be an arrest made.
Yes.
So call the number, make some money. It's up to $1,500.
That's right.
$15,000.
It's not $15,000.
Right. It's
up to
$15,000. Right. I said $15,000. Up to $15,000 that somebody can make off of it.
And your tip could be worth a lot to the police.
Right. Absolutely.
Or to the sheriff. 406-6736 is a hotline number. And don't forget, it is not upon a conviction. It is upon an arrest.
Right.
So,
which could happen very quickly.
It could happen very quickly. You could get your money. We're going to pay off. We have a board called Team Cold Case, board of directors that will handle the money. So if there's, anything no tip is too small. Remember that. If you know one little thing and you say, well, I'm not sure that'll help the case at all, that's nothing.
Right.
Yes. Anything is appreciated. Any tips are appreciated.
Absolutely. And that is, again, Orlando Flowers, 45 years old, killed February 5th, 2017 on Arlington Street. So, folks, give that number a call. Tell them what you know, and you will remain anonymous, and you will make a lot of money.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Let's see what time it is. We've got time to go into another.
Okay, yeah.
You want to go into another case?
Absolutely. Well, what I did, like I said, is, we've talked about probably about a dozen cases.
You want to do a recap?
Yeah.
You want to do a recap so you can remember, so it'll jog some memories in people's minds if you need to, for people that might.
Well, I was going to do them. Can we get? How much time we got?
We have got about 8 minutes.
8, wow, okay. I want to keep those all together in the next thing if we can.
Okay, you want to do the next segment?
Yeah, so we got 8 minutes. We talking about whatever you want to talk about.
Okay. Well,
what do you want to talk about,
board,
Sandra?
let's talk about our board.
Well, then what are we going to talk about at the end of the show then? Because that's what I was going to talk about at the end of the show.
Oh, it is? Well, what case
I know what I talk about. I got 8 minutes.
What can you talk about?
I want to talk about how cooperative the Rocky Mount Police Department has been in all of this.
Yes, we're kind of amazed that they really have.
They really have, and I shouldn't be surprised because let me tell it like this. In 2009, I was working in Jacksonville, and we had a situation where there was this phenomenon where Marines were coming back from the wars. And they were killing their loved ones and burying them out in the backyards. I mean, it was just a at least 6 cases. Bam, 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 bam. And so I was really getting into crime coverage then. Before that, I had been a government reporter. I was really getting into crime and all that. And I remember we used to talk about in the newsroom about the serial killer in Rocky Mount. And I had never even heard of Rocky Mount. I didn't know. I thought it was in the mountains, like Lyndon Johnson did. I thought it was up in I didn't know where Rocky Mount was. I've lived in North Carolina my entire life. I had no idea where. I've lived in eastern North Carolina my life.
And you didn't know where Rocky Mount was?
Never been to Rocky Mount. I didn't know. I kind of knew where Wilson was.
You're missing out.
I got a job offer from the Times, who I do work for now. I got a job offer from them a while back, so I remember. I knew where Wilson was, but I didn't have a clue where Rocky Mount was.
Wow.
But it stuck in my mind, that whole case, right? So fast forward to February of 2015, I get the job here, right? I get the job at the Telegram.
That's right.
February 2015, moved to Spring Hope, start working at the Telegram. Well, I was really excited that I was going to get a chance to write about this serial killer. So I started gathering information together and started putting things together, started going through news archives, started gathering the autopsy reports, court records, all that stuff. And, there was a gentleman named Antoine Pittman who had been convicted of one of those murders back in like 2010 or whatever. But there were about 13 women publicly involved in this case. So I started looking at it was
better known as the missing women.
Right. Yeah, the missing murdered women, the Seven Bridges Road, whatever.
Seven Bridges
so
Road.
It became very apparent to me very quickly that while he did kill a lot of women, he didn't kill all these women. So it was like, well, if he didn't kill all these women, somebody. There's a killer on the loose out there somewhere.
Right.
So I wanted to start talking about it, and public officials, law enforcement officials, attorneys, just prominent members in the community.
Right.
They all told me to forget it.
Really?
They all said, listen, this happened 5 years ago. It's over with. Rocky Mount's a city on the rise. Let's forget about all this. Let's just move on. Right? I hit a wall over and over again. And keep in mind, this was 2015. I hadn't been here but a few months. Right. So in about May of 2015, I finally found a public official that would talk to me about this case.
Oh, wow.
So we went and we sat down, we met at Braswell Memorial Library. We sat down in a room, in a little desk area upstairs, I think, and we talked about this case for hours.
Really?
And this public official provided me with family information I could contact the victims' families, provided me with some other information. And I went back and started looking back into the media of that time of 2008, 2009, 2010. And I saw that this public official was very outspoken about these cases then, right?
Okay.
And was actually one of the driving forces that pushed the whole situation into the public eye. Without this person running his mouth, right, not a lot maybe would have happened back then.
Right.
So here I am 5 years later, and I was the first person to write about this case in 5 years. When I wrote about it, I think 2016. The first time that this case had been in the media in 5 years, right? That's how bad that people in Rocky Mount wanted you to read about this case, right? Okay. And now we've got to the point where now we're going to start talking on this show,
right?
As of conversations we had yesterday with law enforcement, we're going to start talking on this show about who did Antoine Pittman really kill, right? Which of these cases should still be open, right? And hold on to your seats.
Don't even have anything to do with it,
right? Exactly. Hold on to your seats, folks, because a lot of folks live in a world that's black and white. They think that everything is either one way or the other, right? But in reality, there's a lot of gray in this world. And so people who think that they know somebody and people who think that they understand everything, right? I wasn't surprised that City Hall told the police, go for it. I wasn't surprised at all that City Hall said, hey, work with these people, I mean, come on, folks, it was me. I wrote a story or two about City Hall, right?
Right.
But I wasn't surprised at all, because that person that I sat down at the library with, that person, the only person that I could find at the time that was interested in talking about these cases. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know who you're talking about.
The councilman from Ward 1, Andre Knight, is the only person in 2015 that wanted to talk about this. So I've written some stories about the councilman over the years. I've probably written more stories about him than anybody else does, and I think that I know his inner workings better than most people do.
Right, right.
But everybody has redeeming features. Everybody has redeeming qualities. And anybody that just thinks that Andre is the devil don't know the whole story, right? And his willingness to talk about that case then, his willingness to talk about that case in 2015 has opened a pathway to us talking about this case on TV today. Right. So that's pretty good for 8 minutes, right?
It was very good. Okay,
right.
We do have to go to break now. Come back. We'll have more of the K-Files.
If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
In the market for new or used guns, look no further than Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun. Whether you want to buy, sell, or trade, we got you covered. While you're here, check out our large selection of jewelry. We offer gold, silver, diamond, and beautiful estate jewelry. Looking for electronics? We have almost anything you can think of. We always carry new and used guns, so come here first and shop with a local business you can trust. Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun, serving you for over 25 years. 443-1668, 2552 Sunset Avenue, Rocky Mount.
And welcome back here on the K-Files. All right, Linda, we will continue with kind of a recap.
Absolutely.
Of what we've done so far, just to remind you and remind anybody that has a tip that might have forgotten about the cases we covered.
That's right. And I wanted to take this opportunity, like you said, just to remind people of what we've done so far, and that way, we're gaining viewership.
Yes.
Just anecdotally, just from what I'm hearing and
well, I'm hearing a
so,
lot of people tell me that they watch it, enjoy it, and lots of people tell me they watch it again on Friday night.
Well, good.
At 7 o'clock on Friday night.
Yes.
Comes on again.
So that's what I wanted to do. I just kind of wanted to do a quick recap of 8 of the cases that we've talked about. So we're going to get started with number 1. We spent several weeks on this case. This would be Jeff Cobb. He was killed in November 2014, found stabbed in his home. The murder weapon was a screwdriver.
That case is so interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, it is. The police have sent off DNA in the case from a brush they found in the room, so in the bedroom. So maybe we'll get somewhere with that one, So anyway, that's number 1. That's Jeff Cobb. Number 2, Carl Butler, missing persons.
Interesting too.
Missing persons from 2005. We do actually have an update in this case. When we were looking, when the police was reviewing the case,
yes,
they saw where he had an outstanding warrant from out of state at the time. So there was a thought, well, maybe he ran off, maybe to avoid arrest or whatever. So that they wanted to take a little bit of time to look into that, which makes sense.
But we know it's going to be hard for him to run off because he had a bag on his side.
Exactly.
Very sick.
And that's where so after
how can you run off?
Police are going to look at all possibilities, right? But I mean, after looking at that, and then after looking at, like you said, his health conditions, he had just had an operation. He had a bag where he couldn't eat. I mean, he left his medicine behind and all that. I had a detective tell me that one day they're just going to find his body over in the woods somewhere,
Right.
in that area. So
Right.
I mean, that's, it's tragically, but I mean,
It's
that's
hard to believe he went far.
right.
Let's put it that way.
He didn't exactly.
So,
He didn't get very far. So that was February 2005. Hopefully we'll figure that one out.
Yes.
Someday too. Number 3 is Travis Lynch. I have been writing about this story in the Enterprise every week for
yeah, I wish
8
we
months
could
now.
get a tip on this.
Absolutely. He disappeared Christmas Eve 2003. He was in the presence of his girlfriend's family. They're all suspects in the case. He's missing from either Bailey or Middlesex. We really only have those last few hours of his life. We only have the suspect's story of what happened to him. So we don't really know what happened to him Christmas Eve,
Right.
2003. But hopefully we can get something done on that one too. The reward for all these cases up to $15,000. The next one is we had Lieutenant Muse come in and talk about Steve McGray. He's been missing since January of this year from Edgecombe County. The interesting part of this whole case is the day after he went missing, his daughter she's been arrested, charged with using his card to get his Social Security money. Mm-hmm. And so, hopefully we'll figure that one out. I know they're hard on that. They need some tips, people to call in. So the 5th one, the number 5 that we've talked about is Daquan Dickens. 18 years old at a birthday party. Somebody shoots into the house. I can't get that image out of my mind that the bullet went through his Burger King name badge to pierce his heart. Just a good or terrible example of how shooting into an occupied dwelling is a serious thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So folks need to. He was going to be a teacher. There's so many. We had Amelia Hart from the Telegram was in here talking about.
Yes.
There's just so many tragic aspects of that story. That's probably one of the saddest stories that we got. So hopefully somebody call in on that one. The next one that we're going to spend a lot of time on this next case because this is cold, but it's also not so cold, right? Mm-hmm. Tammy Grady, she disappeared in November of 2019 from downtown Wilson. We interviewed her sister, had a video of her sister on here. We're going to work to get some of the family members in here into the studio, and we're going to do some more interviews with the family. This girl was taken and somebody did some bad stuff to her, and it's the worst kept secret in Wilson. Everybody knows what happened to her, but nobody will tell law enforcement.
Right.
So hopefully the money will, the reward money will loosen somebody's lips up.
Yes.
All right. Number 7 is Dalvin Redmond. This guy was found in a field. You know what? It wasn't Lieutenant Muse that talked about that Steve McCray case. That was Tender. Sergeant Tender came in and talked about that.
Yeah.
I got my cops mixed up. Sorry about that. But Lieutenant Muse did come in and talk about Dalvin Redmond a couple weeks ago. And this guy was found in a sweet potato field, shot dead in 2018, and it's a real whodunit. They need a tip in this case to get the wheels rolling. So somebody call in, remain anonymous, give the information, and get something done on that. So just a tragic aside, because these cases always have tragic.
Right, they do.
Side stories, but his brother was killed a year later in the same month.
Right.
The Edgecombe County Sheriff's Department has made an arrest in that case. They're unrelated,
right.
But they have made an arrest in that case, and the person's waiting for trial in that case. And then finally, Keenan Mercer, the police department came in, talk about this case. Lieutenant Seifman, they brought photos.
Absolutely. They did a great job.
They did on this case, and this guy was in September 2017. He was riding his bicycle to get some gas so that he could finish a lawn mowing job, so he could buy some clothes for his new job that he got.
Right.
And he was while he was riding his bicycle, he got into an argument with a guy. The guy shot him. So, someone saw that again. A shooting in a neighborhood like that.
Somebody saw it.
Right. Someone saw. No, okay, so that's the 8. I wanted to just go through those and get somebody in each one of these cases, all 8 of these cases. The suspect knows what he did, he or she did, or they did, right? I mean, they know, right? So they're not likely to tell on themselves, although it does happen sometimes.
Sometimes they'll turn themselves in, but rarely.
Right. I was just talking to Captain Staten yesterday from the police department, and he was telling me, I don't remember all the details, but there was a case from many, many years ago where a guy walked into the police department and said, I can't live with it anymore. I killed so-and-so.
Wow.
Right. So, I mean, I guess some people do develop a conscience after a while.
But they certainly can't sit around and wait for somebody to do that, because that is a rare
Exactly.
occasion.
It is, yeah, good point. It is an extremely rare situation. Yeah. So what people can do is, so the suspect knows what happened.
Right.
And then there are always witnesses.
Somebody else.
They know, and either they saw it themselves, or maybe the suspect over time confided in them or confided in someone else. I mean, folks, this kind of stuff, this hearsay stuff is not admissible in court. But if your cousin got drunk one night and told you that they killed somebody 20 years ago,
right,
and then you want up to $15,000, you call that information. That information might lead law enforcement down the right track.
Absolutely.
So everything, don't sit at home, because I mean I've been doing this. I always say 20 years. I've been doing this 17 years. I've been writing about unsolved murders for 17 years. There is, over time, it's a double-edged sword, because we all know that for all you true crime junkies out there, the first 48 hours is the most important.
Absolutely.
You guys, if you don't solve a crime in the first 48 hours, the chances you solving that crime go downhill.
That's right. That's exactly right.
However, it's like a pendulum that swings, right? And if you don't solve that crime in the first 48 hours, time is your enemy, but eventually time becomes your friend again, because relationships change. People, a wife who knew that a husband did something, then they get divorced.
That's right.
And then, 5 years later, that wife may not be so inclined to keep that husband's secret.
She's ready to talk.
Right. Friends, business partners, fellow drug dealers. I mean, all these relationships change over time.
Right.
So some of these cases, like it seems like, why are we doing it? It's not easy, right? There were a couple people involved in this that thought that it was just gonna, we're gonna just. But I knew, because I've been doing this a long time. In the 17 years I've been doing this, I've written about hundreds of cases, and I can only count on 2 hands how many actually got solved because of the efforts that I've done.
Exactly.
So it's not easy. What we're doing is not.
It's not easy, but if we could solve one crime.
But it is rewarding.
Yeah,
it is very rewarding, and also it can be financially rewarding to someone who calls.
It absolutely could, and people, please know it's anonymous. Any tip is not too small, and please know it is anonymous, and you can get up to $15,000 depending on how much your tip may be worth. So, and I do want to say, if you want to donate to the board, which is the
Team Cold Case.
Team Cold Case. All I can think about is K-Files. Team Cold Case, you can do that. You can certainly do that.
We're going to have a way to do it. Well, next week, I guess we need to start having a way.
Yeah, we'll start next week
mailing
telling
address
you how
or
to do
whatever.
that. We're working on all of that now.
Right.
It's all in the works, in progress. But if you would like to, it is for a worthy cause, because every bit of it will be reward money to solve crimes in our community, and here in our community. Right,
and it's I guess it's kind of cliche to say that even if just one case out of all of our effort, but it is true. I mean, I've seen, like I said, probably 9 times. I was trying to add it up yesterday. 9 times where, I mean, I wrote about a case in Asheboro several years ago when I was doing some freelance work on this in between newspaper jobs. And this girl was stabbed several times in her home. And the police kind of suspected the boyfriend, but he had an alibi or whatever. And the mother, I was, doing my legwork and all that, and I came across the mother, and I was talking to her, and I wrote the story, and it was in the Asheboro Courier Tribune. She called me back. She called me, and she's like, "Look, thanks for doing the story, but what now?" And I told her, I said, "Ma'am, don't give up."
Right.
The cases that, in my experience, the cases that get solved are the cases that have the most family involvement. The cases that the family's calling the cops every day, what's going on. The cases where the family's talking to the media. The cases where the families will not give up.
Right.
And so she did that, and she just went full bore into this in Asheboro and everything. And then I believe 2018 they finally arrested the boyfriend.
Wow.
For it because
the
pressure that she put on people, his alibi crumbled eventually, and so he's I guess he's still awaiting trial. I don't know, but anyway, they made the arrest, and that's one of the examples that I can give is that this works with the community. Law enforcement has always been working these cases, right? I mean,
yes.
That's the one steady in all of this stuff, and I can just say that through sheer experience.
Well,
I'm not plugging for law enforcement. I'm saying I know because these cops, these detectives, always work these cases. But when they're working these cases in an environment where the public is not providing information, like the case that we said in Edgecombe County, 60 people saw this shooting and nobody saw it.
That's amazing.
It's hard to do. So that's what we're here. We're here to facilitate the public's calling them on the phone.
And I do want to say, the more you get involved, as Lyndall said, the more you stay on the cops. Call them once a week. They know they're going to get that call. They want to give you answers. So, yes, they're working the cases, but it makes them maybe work a little harder, continue more on the case if they know, that you are showing interest.
Yeah, Chief Manley, who was the police chief here,
yes, wonderful man.
Back in the day, he got kind of in a little jam with the public because he was quoted as saying, "Is if the families don't care, why should I?" And I mean that was people thought that was such a terrible thing to say, but I mean it's just true. I mean if you've got let's say you're a detective and you got 6 cases. And you obviously you're doing your job. You care about them all. I mean, cops aren't in this to make money,
right?
They're in it because that's their calling in life.
Absolutely.
But if they got 6 cases and they got a family that's willing to provide them information and talk to them and help them in these cases and all of that stuff, that case has a better chance out of those 6.
That's right.
Of getting solved.
That's exactly right.
So it extrapolates to the entire public.
Right.
If the public is invested and involved in these cases, law enforcement has a better chance of solving it. And then finally it goes back to what General Gordon Bray said yesterday about the rule of law, is that if the public makes it uncomfortable for criminals to commit crime, then that helps law enforcement and it helps everybody.
Absolutely. Deters. Okay, we'll be right back.
If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
In the market for new or used guns, look no further than Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun. Whether you want to buy, sell, or trade, we got you covered. While you're here, check out our large selection of jewelry. We offer gold, silver, diamond, and beautiful estate jewelry. Looking for electronics? We have almost anything you can think of. We always carry new and used guns, so come here first and shop with a local business you can trust. Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun, serving you for over 25 years. 443-1668, 2552 Sunset Avenue, Rocky Mount.
Hey, are we on the air?
Yeah, I want to talk more about that guy.
We
I just
will.
told Linda.
I'll bring more
I want to talk
stuff
about
back.
the guy on Gay Street more,
Right.
the card game. I mean, that was interesting too. These cases are interesting
Right.
cases. But
I'll
anyway.
have something for you next week on that.
Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit next week. Okay, and some others next week. Very interesting cases.
Fred, what was the temperature again? 755? Is
Yeah,
that what?
and that wasn't Death Valley.
Nice. All right. So, yes, we had a very productive meeting yesterday.
Yes, we did.
Absolutely.
Of the team cold case
Right.
board.
Of course, the general is the chairman. I mean,
Yes, he is.
He was
He's
asked
leading
and
the
he
way for
stepped up
us.
for that, right?
He did.
But we also we officially formed yesterday with the help of two attorneys, and we elected some officers. I nominated you for two
Yeah,
positions.
I owe him big
Sandra is the vice president and the treasurer of this organization because vice president because no one else wanted to do it, but treasurer because it's the money's the big. I mean, the money is everything, right? You obviously you were the obvious one.
Well,
for
not
that.
necessarily, but the thing is, we do want to ensure people that every bit of this money will go to rewards.
Non-tax.
That was our goal. We want tips. We want to solve crimes. That's what it's all about. This
Right.
show is for helping to give an outlet to
Right.
get a word out. And there are other ways that we're getting the word out also. But this is another way to get the word out.
Before social distancing, how close y'all sat a little closer together
When?
before social distancing?
Yeah,
Or not?
yeah. We're
Because I mean,
social
it's just-
distancing. We have to be diligent.
I'm like hanging off the screen. I always look all the time to make sure I'm not falling
We're
off the edge of the
both
earth.
hanging. I'm
Okay.
usually hanging way over here,
So Kat with Fighting Crime is the secretary.
right? That's
she's,
right.
She's gonna keep up with all the corporate papers. She's gonna keep up with the notes from the meetings.
That's right.
We had an executive committee that was established that is representatives of the media,
Yeah.
which was us, representatives from law enforcement, and
Yes.
I'll talk about those three guys here in a minute. But then we also have on the committee in whole, we have a bunch of citizens
Yes.
that have signed up.
And
We're
that's
gonna-
good.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
good
gonna,
to get citizen involvement.
We're going
It's
to
always
provide some
good.
more information about each one of those as we get to it, and there's some good folks from the business community and just some people in general that they were appointed. People, this board didn't it wasn't made in secret from a shadow organization. I mean,
That's
this was
right.
the sheriffs and the police chief appointed folks that
They're very much on board with it.
Right. They appointed citizens to this board that they thought would do a good job with it. And there's a
did.
lot of people. I'm really excited about the at-large member, Malcolm Logan. He, last year when I was writing about...
I don't know him.
Yeah, he runs a couple businesses. He's an entrepreneur, young guy, great-looking guy. He contacted me last year when I was writing about City Hall, and we went and ate somewhere over on Sunset Boulevard, some wings. It was really good, wherever it was. I wish I knew so I could give him a...
Right.
But we went and we talked about, he wanted to know who I was, he wanted to try to understand why I was writing what I was writing and all that stuff. And I really, I really appreciated that because anytime, I investigative reporter over here. Anytime that someone wants to know something,
Right.
I like that. So He wasn't there yesterday. I don't know what scheduling or whatever, but I mean, he is a member. I've spoken to him, since I found out that he was going to be on there. Really happy he's on there. There's some other folks. Glenn Wilkins is on the board. I mean, there's a lot of folks that I think are going to do really good.
And each law enforcement, each sheriff and police chief assigned from their agency. One person.
Which I'm really impressed with these folks.
Good.
I put a picture of the three of them on my new Facebook page. Next week I'm gonna plug the old Facebook page. Folks, I don't really like Facebook. I got off of it in 2012.
Right.
And stayed off of it for years. I kept my page because you can't look up people on Facebook unless you got a page.
That's right.
And anytime someone
it
gets
does have a purpose. I don't care for it.
Anytime someone gets arrested for something, I always go and look on Facebook, because then, like, I remember one time there were some Marines that killed a horse, and I went on their Facebook page, and the guy's got a hanger grenade in his mouth or whatever,
Wow.
So what a great picture,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's always, Facebook's always worth looking at.
Yeah.
But when I started this show and all that, my wife was like, look, you're doing this, you need to do it right. And I've had, the Facebook page has been out for 2 weeks. I've got like 800 and something people like it already.
That's good.
And some of the posts, I posted about a 4-year-old girl that got murdered in a home invasion a few years ago in Duplin County. Like 70,000 people looked at that in a couple of days. So people are interested in this stuff.
Yeah, they are. They really
people
are.
want it. And locally, Captain Staten told me yesterday that you watch Investigation Discovery and you see all these shows, right?
Right.
There is a bevy, there is a wealth of stories, fascinating,
Yes.
interesting,
It is.
amazing, sad, tragic stories right here in Eastern North Carolina.
It is.
I mean,
absolutely is.
We couldn't cover them all. We will never. No, I don't care how long this show lasts. We will never be able to cover all of the stories
Which
about.
is sad.
Right, and that's
say.
true. So anyway, those three guys, Captain James Staten from the Rocky Mount Police Department.
That's
He's in
right.
charge of homicide stuff over there. He is great. I mean, I had a conversation with him yesterday. I was just, it's going to be good. It's going to be good for us.
And he's been assigned to the board from the Rocky Mount Police Department.
Right, and they're going to start doing some interesting stuff. I mean, Lieutenant Seifman knocked it out of the ballpark when he was here to talk about.
Yes, he did.
The Mercer case. They're got a lot more. They provided some cases yesterday that they want to talk about.
Unfortunately, they have the brunt.
Right. Well, the thing about that is Rocky Mount accepts all of their unsolved cases dating all the way back to the 70s.
Right.
Right. The sheriffs, they kind of wanted to talk about the ones that since they've been sheriff.
Yes.
But I mean, there are other cases. But the police department, they go all the way back to the 70s.
Right.
With their cases. So when we say there's more than 50 unsolved, it's a staggering number, but it also spans all the way back to the 70s.
And we don't know how far it goes back. The Sheriff's Department.
So Captain Staten, right? The next guy is Lieutenant Jeff Sherrard from the Nash County Sheriff's Office.
Nash County, that's who.
I was really
Sheriff
happy.
Keith Stone assigned to the board.
Really happy with that. I met Lieutenant Sherrard 4 years ago, probably when I first started writing about the Travis Lynch case. And he's just a great guy. He's from Bailey, born and raised.
He's a good, wholesome guy.
He is. He's a funny guy too.
He played softball for years with my husband.
Okay.
And he was just a good old boy, younger, good old boy back then. So,
And into this as well. They picked the right guys. Let me tell you, they picked the right three people.
Because they say, I've heard the sheriff say, Jeff is, or Lieutenant Sherrod, even when sometimes there'll be a call where, a lot of people need to respond. He's off duty. He'll hear it on his radio, and out of the house he goes. He's not on duty, but he comes. He always comes for those big events.
Yeah,
so he's dedicated, He's very dedicated to what he does.
And then the other member, Lieutenant Muse, Wilson Muse from the Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office.
He's great too.
He, you know, I said this on the air a couple weeks ago when he was on here. We used to, in the newsroom at the Telegram, the Tarboro Weekly, when something happened in Edgecombe County, we were always we were hoping that it was Wilson Muse that we had to talk to.
Wow.
Because, I mean, he is just so forthcoming with information.
He's responsive to
absolutely.
the media.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, sometimes law enforcement, they don't want to say anything.
No.
And it's all about protecting
It's
all about protecting the cases.
Yeah,
I understand
absolutely.
that. But sometimes they don't want to say anything.
Sometimes they need to.
But Wilson, he I mean, like he knows that you can say certain things that isn't gonna damage anything.
Yes,
but
he cooperates.
Right, and it is. I couldn't be more happier with the three folks.
I think the 3 assignments to the board were very, very good.
Right.
We couldn't have it any better. So our board is top notch, as you just heard. The money will be handled, you know, through the board, through fighting crime, and then to the officers,
Right.
who will
let's
appropriate the money out.
Let's explain that relationship again. So when we were going to do a show, and then the thought was, well, I mean, you know, I can talk for 6 hours every day about this stuff. I mean, you know, but we wanted to do something bigger than that.
Yes.
We didn't want to just do a WHIG.
Yeah, I mean,
we wanted something much bigger.
We thought this would be interesting, so hey, this would make an interesting show, and then it became more than that.
And we wanted something that was bigger than all of it. So we began working on, you know, the creation
we can
of this
solve
board.
crimes, maybe.
That's right, exactly. So we began working on the creation of this board. I mean, I didn't do it. The lawyers, the guy involved, Rick
That's
Hamlin.
right. We have two great attorneys.
Right, Hope Connie, Rick Hamlin. I mean, amazing.
Right.
Rick put this thing together. You know, I mean.
And he told us yesterday what we can do, what we cannot do, and he's going to keep us in line.
Right.
And we need that.
And so when we were discussing, you know, how do we do this, creating a hotline and receiving calls. I mean, how do you do all that stuff? That's where fighting crime come in, because for 9 years she's been doing that.
Yes.
So the thing is she's got it right. She's got a hotline. She's got the trust of law enforcement. She has helped solve 800 crimes.
Right.
You know, I mean, some of them shoplifting or whatever, but I mean, it's 800 crimes that someone has called her, and she's giving the information to law enforcement, and that includes 2 murders last year.
Right.
So hey, you know, I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Right.
You know, don't reinvent the wheel. So that's how. So what we have is Team Cold Case, named by the general. At first,
Yes.
I wasn't very keen on the name at first, but it kind of grew on me.
It kind of clicks now.
It's
TCC.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty simple. We're a team and we're trying to solve cold cases.
That's right.
But so with the umbrella of that, we got the umbrella of the team. Underneath that, we have 3 entities. Really, we've got Fighting Crime, who continues to do her own thing. You know, on a daily basis, she writes about on her Facebook page that has 70,000 followers. By the way, she writes about everyday crime and whatever. She does her thing and all that. And then we have the WHIG, who facilitates this TV show and does all that stuff. And then we have me. So which I write every week about this kind of stuff in the Enterprise.
Right.
And I write often for the Wilson Times.
I was going to say, Lyndall is with the Wilson Daily Times and the Spring Hope Enterprise. So we thank both of those entities for allowing Lyndall to come on and
that was an interesting conversation with my bosses that day.
I'm sure.
When I was like, hey.
You're going to go do this on
I want to go be on TV. Is that all right? So,
but they're fine.
But I mean, they recognize the in the end, like you said, it's
the value.
It's about trying to get something done. And this is a good way. So we're here live Thursday morning. I went to bed about 3 o'clock last night.
Gosh.
Last week I didn't go to bed for 2 days, and I really paid for it on Friday. But we're live right now.
Yes, we are.
19 counties.
Yes.
I'm so blown away by that.
19 counties.
Wake County. All up and down from Virginia to South Carolina.
We go to Zebulon. We can't. They won't let us into Raleigh. Raleigh is scared of us. But anyway, no.
But you're in Wake
kidding.
County, though.
We are in Wake County. We're in Zebulon.
A lot of people who work in Raleigh live in Zebulon
That's
anyway.
true.
So they're watching while they're getting ready for work this morning. So we cover. We're live this morning. A lot of people are watching because I get text messages burning up my phone. You did this wrong. Say this. Quit slouching. I get all these text messages. Then you repeat it Friday night in prime time at 7 o'clock.
And we've decided a method to the madness. We decided to play this, and I'll have to ask because it just hit the schedule, at a late night time at 10 p.m.
There you go.
There was a reason for that.
Is that the move from Friday? You're talking about Friday at 10?
Yeah, well, no,
Friday,
I don't know what day she scheduled it yesterday. We'll have that
Breaking
next
news.
week because it starts this coming week. 10 p.m. We're going to give it a third slot because I'm getting a lot.
So you're saying it still be Friday at 7?
Yes, still Friday at 7. But what I wanted to do, I said if we have a 10 o'clock slot, I would like to grab that for the K-Files because a lot of, the younger criminals, and I hate to say it this way, but they're up later.
Right.
Young people. Young people stay up later. They're watching late TV, 10 o'clock at night. And I said, I want to,
That's a good slot, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely.
So, listen at this, but we have 1 minute. Good. You got in on the very tail end. Good morning. Glad you called. This is our president.
This is Arnold. How are you?
Good morning.
I just called to tell you look good, but make sure Linda knows the reason why it took a long time is because people had to get past his ugly looks. So
I know.
That.
You keep calling the kettle black, General. Keep doing that.
Look, y'all sounded good. I see you have a great day.
Thank you
General.
as well.
Yeah, that is a man that's going to get something done around here.
Yes,
General. No doubt about it. I remember at City Hall meeting last year when this tall, handsome man stood up and said and called me some and I was like, who is that guy? But I found out really quickly that he much like me, he's not from here.
Yes.
But he came here and he's going to make a difference
into the community.
Absolutely. He is a very impressive individual.
Okay, Pete is going like this and like this.
Are we done?
9 o'clock.
Oh,
we are late.
Man, I was
Have
just
a
getting
great
started.
Day. Thank you for watching.
Thank y'all, folks.
Everybody.
If you recently lost your job and your health coverage due to the COVID-19 pandemic and you think you may be eligible for Medicare, you probably have more questions than answers right now. Statewide Insurers Group, All Things Medicare, can help you with that. We can provide the guidance and the answers that you need to get the benefits you may be eligible for. Don't let this time of uncertainty jeopardize your eligibility for your Medicare benefits. Remember, relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers that you need now. 316-8166.
In the market for new or used guns, look no further than Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun. Whether you want to buy, sell, or trade, we got you covered. While you're here, check out our large selection of jewelry. We offer gold, silver, diamond, and beautiful estate jewelry. Looking for electronics? We have almost anything you can think of. We always carry new and used guns, so come here first and shop with a local business you can trust. Carolina Jewelry Pawn and Gun, serving you for over 25 years. 443-1668, 2552 Sunset Avenue, Rocky Mount.